me now? Am I going out live? Nice. What's up, everybody? We'll be live in 23 minutes.
go to go to very weird. iOS.
Yo, all right. Should have made that timer go down to like 2. That's cool. 5 minutes, yeah. So are we live or? Oh, is that a preview? I think I'm seeing the preview now. That's okay. Hey everyone, welcome to another Saturday, another installment of the DA Perspective. Really appreciate everybody tuning in and or just joining in as you come in. I hope everyone, again, is in as good a spirits as can be, considering the whole coronavirus, government not really working for us, and just overall just stress levels that are probably rising for a lot of people. One of the first things I want to do, actually, on the fly, I wanted to, probably should never do this, but it is what it is. Let's look at those unemployment numbers this week. So, unfortunately, we are, let's see if I can find it here. Nope, that's not it. Here it is. So unemployment spiking once again. If there's any symbol that you need to know that shows that things just really aren't working for everyone, I mean, we have record stock market bounce backs and highs at the same time that we also have record unemployment. Now, previously, people were saying, capitalism, the stock market, right? A really thriving stock market is a symbol of a positively raging economy. But clearly, you can have rising stock markets and record unemployment, which also clearly show that those two are not correlated in that aspect. So I hope that moving forward, we kind of get away from this idea that the stock market is the barometer for the health of an economic system in this nation. So to go to the numbers here, see if we got that chart. So as you can see, April's unemployment rate represents a huge jump from what has been seen as historical lows. As most people have reported, this is the highest unemployment numbers that we've seen since the Great Depression. And if I'm not mistaken, we're a percentage or two under peak Great Depression numbers. So as it sits now, 1 in 5 Americans has filed for unemployment. Chances are you know someone who has filed for unemployment. I personally do as well. And it's also, the reports that I'm getting from certain people is a mix of things. Some people have decided that they didn't want to file for unemployment for whatever personal reasons. Some people have stopped looking for work, so they're not considered to be unemployed. Some people file for unemployment, but they have been continuously getting denied, having still met all the metrics necessary to be an applicable applicant, I guess, someone who should be getting money. And then there's also people who have applied, who have been approved, but for whatever reason, mainly the influx of applications, the high load, they're still in the back of the line and they're still waiting for money. So hopefully that all gets tied up soon and we can get everybody, in a place where they need to be. Those who are still working, can you actually go to there you go. Yeah, we probably didn't see that other one. Let's go back. So you can see on the screen here, April's unemployment rate, we're just under 15% there. For this on May 7th, 33 million unemployment claims, as you can see over here. That's 7 weeks. That's insane. That's a lot of people. That's a lot of hurt, right? That's a lot of people who are just really not in a good place right now. That's 1 in 5 Americans that are workers. People who are still working are seeing a reduction in hours. So it's kind of like a trade-off. Do I opt to figure out a way to be released from my employment? Obviously, the employers are having these really tough conversations with people as to either let them go, to furlough them, or to do some other form of contract, if you will, between the two of them to figure out how to stay employed but not be employed. Job listings are down 40% from last year. And job hiring is down across a host of industries. As you can see, recreation and travel has taken the biggest hit, naturally, because we're not moving around, no one's traveling, and there's not much recreation going on, considering we can't be within 6 feet of each other. it's a little tough. Real estate, as you can see, has also been letting a lot of people off. Construction, energy and mining, consumer goods, entertainment, legal. You know, as you can see, everybody's kind of losing all around. Working from home is the new work routine for many office workers. I'd love to hear from some of you all in the future as to how you feel about that. I know that there's different classes in this country, and usually your class is dependent on what type of work that you have. I know that a lot of, I know people from all parts of that spectrum. I know people who are the hourly workers, and I know people who don't have jobs. I know people who are gig economy workers, and I know people who are corporate workers who are salaried, you know. And across the gamut, some of these places have been figuring out ways to maintain operations virtually, mainly those in higher economic status structures, those who have salaried positions. So I'm interested to hear what you feel going forward. If this is something that you'd like to maintain, is this something you feel is not conducive to an efficient work environment? Do you feel like you're working more now? Are your bosses expecting you to work around the clock now because you're literally steps away from your workstation? I mean, there's a whole different list of things that we could go into that could be talked about in terms of moving forward in the digital working space. So, yeah, I just wanted to go over the unemployment numbers real quick before we get into everything else. So yeah, I've got a lot this show. I'm gonna go over how to say this. It's tragic what happened to Ahmaud Arbery. We've all pretty much probably seen the tape by now. I'm not gonna play the tape per se. I'm gonna play some news clips, and I think one of the news clips has the tape in it. I'm also going to talk about the failed attempt in Venezuela that includes some prior military service members, an independent business in Florida, and Maduro. I'm going to talk about Andrew Yang Sanders this week. There were some new revelations in the New York primary, so we'll go over that. I may or may not talk about the whistleblower complaint that was filed by the individual in the Department of Health and Human Services. Sorry, 1 second. I got something in there. Thing was going off in my pocket. I could smell it. It's weed. Okay, so whatever. Okay, it's fucking medical. That is what it is. All right. Also gonna go. So Tim Ryan and Ro Khanna are trying to push through legislation that would give you, me, and a bunch of other people $2,000 a month for no less than 6 months. If I'm not mistaken, 6 months. Yeah, obviously as a stimulus bill. Then we're going to talk about Representative Sarah Anthony of Michigan, Lansing, Michigan. She actually did something that, man, it could go both ways, and we'll see that. And then I'm going to end off with a llama. All right, so let's jump into tragedy one more time, as we do every week. If you haven't already heard, an individual who would have been 26 years old yesterday, if I'm not mistaken. Yes. His name is Ahmaud Arbery. Ahmaud Arbery was running through a neighborhood. And again, this is all without having like a trial and all that stuff. This is what we know thus far. Actually, I'll go to this video here about I'll go to this article here. It's a timeline of the case. Basically, it's been what, 8 weeks or something? It's been far too long for the individuals that did the shooting to get arrested. And if you haven't seen the video, like I said, there'll be a portion of it that's in this clip that I'm going to play. But it's pretty awful. It's awful to see someone standing in the back of a truck as this kid is running towards a truck. Someone's in the back of the truck and someone's on the ground. And it looks like it looks like Ahmaud was trying to evade them, right? And again, the reason is what we're all trying to figure out. Like, all we have is this one piece of evidence that was shot by somebody else who's now also being questioned heavily, right? Like, why were you filming? And it's probably one of the most awful things that I've seen in a very long time. And it's not to say that other killings are not awful as well. It's just the manner in which this one was carried out. The almost shooting a fish in a barrel stance that the person in the truck bed took as he was looking down at Ahmaud while Ahmaud was fighting with the other individual who I believe had a shotgun as well. And to just fire on him, like, it boggles my mind. So here's a timeline of the case as it stands now. Here we go. So February 27th, the first prosecutor after the shooting happened recused herself. February 27th, the district attorney Jackie Johnson recused herself from the case, pointing out that Gregory McMichael, which is one of the suspects in the case, he was a former police officer. He had been a longtime investigator in her office. So he retired, but because they had that relationship, she didn't feel right. Also to say, the other individual involved is Travis McMichael. So Gregory and Travis were the two individuals that shot him, and you'll see what they look like here pretty soon. April 1st, a local newspaper publishes details of the police investigation. Early April, a second prosecutor finds no reason to charge, then recuses himself. And under pressure, so first, he found no reason to charge because they acted legally under Georgia's citizen arrest and self-defense laws. We already knew that that's what they were gonna say. Meaning, even now when they do the trial, I'll put money on it, 100%. They're gonna claim self-defense. And as we go through this, you'll see there's holes to that defense, like really big holes to that defense. So yeah, second prosecutor recused himself because his son had worked in the Brunswick's prosecutor office with McMichael. April 13th, a third prosecutor takes the case. April 26th, still nothing has happened. And then May 5th, the video comes out. Now, the video was released by an attorney, if I'm not mistaken. We'll go through that on who released it, but it wasn't anyone. It wasn't anyone, law enforcement or anything like that released the video. It was someone who released the video, knowing that it needed to be released in this manner. Now, I don't know that they knew what was going to happen after, but I hope that that was the idea. And again, this goes to show what can be done when we all get together. So May 7th, which yesterday? Right? I don't even know what day today is. Oh my God, my brain. Yeah, May 7th, they were arrested. And that's because of the people who demanded it. So we'll go watch this video here. I know I kind of talked a little bit heavily, but let's go into this video here. Are you getting that? No? Okay, one second. Sorry, one second. We're gonna get this video on here. Are you sure? No? Here, I'm just gonna turn it up here.
Grabbed their guns and followed. Handcuffed and appearing on video from jail, Gregory and Travis McMichael were denied bail in their first court appearance today. Okay. Both father and son charged with felony murder. The McMichaels were arrested Thursday at their Georgia home more than 10 weeks after their fatal confrontation with Ahmaud Arbery. In a police report, Gregory McMichael, a former law enforcement officer, says he thought Arbery was a burglary suspect, so he and his son grabbed their guns and followed him. McMichael says his son fired in self-defense, saying Arbery began to violently attack Travis. Arbery's family says he was unarmed.
So just one point on that. There are reports that while he was out for that run, that he stopped at a home and look through the window, but that home was under construction. So at best, or rather, yeah, at best, if they're looking for a crime that he committed, it would be trespassing, and you don't deserve to get shot for trespassing.
Out on a Sunday afternoon jog.
Sorry, go back one more time. It's okay. You don't deserve to get shot for trespassing on a property that's under construction. Like, I understand that some people will be like, trespassing laws, because like Texas and all that shit, but like, just use your common sense. You know exactly what I mean when I say that.
I think the video release is absolutely essential.
Today, relief for Arbery's family, who says this is just the first step.
What do you ultimately want to see? Them never come home again.
The shooting happened in February, but after the videos released this week, the Georgia Bureau of Investigations got the case, making arrests within 36 hours.
I think that speaks volumes for itself, and that the probable cause was clear to our agents pretty quickly.
All right, we can cut out. So I think it's, can we go main, please? So it's another instance where the law is applied differently for different people. They tried to cover this up. They tried to sweep this under the rug. They tried to pass it from person to person to person so that the chain of custody would be gone and that everyone could just be like, who knows what happened? Right? Where in this country are you allowed to kill someone legally or illegally, lawfully, unlawfully? Where are you allowed to take another human's life and there be nothing after that? No investigation, not even like pulling you in to the police department to assess what happened. None of that was done here. Like they said, we're 10 weeks out, and this is the first time that those two individuals have been arrested. That's absurd. And this is part of the reason why people like me are so upset. Like, this is just, it's 2020, man. Right? Like, it's not like we're too good for any of this to happen. It's just like, damn, dude, like, I thought we had this fight before I was even born. Right? Like, people are saying that this is a modern day lynching. I mean, literally, if you go watch the tape, it's what it looks like. It looks like they I'm trying to find the right word. They killed that kid. They killed him, right? And one of them being a police officer, like, come on. You didn't know better? You didn't know what you were doing when you chased that kid? So that's upsetting because we've already had this happen. We had Tamir Rice, we had Trayvon Martin, we had a bunch of other people who, in similar instances, these same things are happening. And now is when the real journey for justice begins, right? Just because these people got arrested, even if these two people are prosecuted, that's not enough. What about the district attorneys and the officers who decided that they just weren't going to pursue this case, given literal video evidence, which is the most damning evidence of all in almost every case, because we could see it. Justice for Ahmaud will come when everyone who is responsible for the inaction that happened after his death happens. When all that happens, then justice for Ahmaud will have been served. And until then, I hope that everybody screams from the fucking rooftops, because this is absurd, and I'm tired of it. We're tired of it. I'm tired of it. Everyone's tired of it. Really. And just don't push people to the edge and expect people not to fight back. That's all I'm going to say about that. All right, so moving on. So I know that we are told as children socialism is bad and Venezuela is awful. Listen, I don't live in Venezuela. I've never been to Venezuela. I only know what my government has told me and from what I can see from like media that comes out of Venezuela, and having talked to people who live in Colombia and actually here in Chicago, Taco Tuesday, if you know what I'm talking about, everyone that works there is from Venezuela. So anyways, I know it's not the greatest of situations and the greatest of living conditions, but here's what I know. This is what I know, because I did go to Iraq, right? And I went to Iraq post-Saddam. And that place is a fucking mess, right? And every time the United States meddles in another country's power structure, that place turns to shit. Mierda? Is that the word? It turns to shit. So, we got these dudes, these dudes. Okay, so apparently, there was a plan to overthrow, at least not necessarily overthrow Maduro, but to capture some of the people that are in his government. So I'm gonna go ahead and play this clip real quick, so you can hear what Mike Pompeo is saying. It's absurd.
In an alleged plot to overthrow the Maduro regime. Venezuelan TV released this video appearing to show one of two Americans captured by security forces this week. Former U.S. Special Forces soldier Luke Denman apparently admits trying to arrest dictator Nicolas Maduro and bring him to the United States. Denman says he wanted to help Venezuelans take back their country. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo says the U.S. government was not directly involved.
There was no U.S. government direct involvement in this operation. If we'd been involved, it would have gone differently.
Fuck you, man. Fuck you. You can go back to Maine. That's absurd. If we would have been involved, it would have been far different. That makes me so upset, because that's really how these people think. And you know what? I'm willing to bet that we're going to find out that they knew. Because you think that half the shit in this country happens without the government knowing? First of all, they're probably listening to fucking this show right now. Jesus, man. Like, fucking. You want to see what happens when Americans get involved? Does anyone remember the Bay of Pigs? No? Let's take a little journey down memory lane here. So this is from the JFK Library website. Like, I went straight to the source because he was a president at the time. Right? Bay of Pigs, April 17th, 1961. 1,400 Cuban exiles launched what became a botched invasion at the Bay of Pigs on the southeast of Cuba. Because we were so scared of Fidel Castro at the time. The ultimate goal was the overthrow of Castro and the establishment of a non-communist government friendly to the United States. It didn't go well. We'll leave it at that. You go do your research on what happened there another time. Yeah, Bay of Pigs didn't work out well, right? Same thing here, different kind of vibe. Same idea. Stay out of people's damn countries, man. So, what we're trying to figure out now is what happened. Why were these men sent there? Why did they go there in the first place? So there's there's a couple different theories, right? So these dudes were working for Silver Corps USA. Silver Corps USA is an independent business, and they're in the business of this, right? So as if you don't already know, Guaido is the United States-backed president of Venezuela, right? He's a challenger, Juan Guaido, I think his name is. He's the opposition leader to Maduro, right? And there are reports that there was some conversations, some communication between Silvercore USA and Guaido, right? There was a price tag, as you can see here. Members of Venezuela's opposition in October negotiated a $213 million deal with a small Florida. Can you go? Yeah. Members of Venezuela's opposition in October negotiated a $213 million deal with a small Florida security company to invade the country and overthrow Maduro, according to a document published by the Washington Post on Thursday. What the fuck? Why is that even allowed to exist? Why are there private companies in the United States that are allowed to negotiate contracts of this nature? You can be a private security company, that I understand. But to invade the country and overthrow President Maduro, that is like mercenary shit. That's like covert ops, non-like government attached shit. As I said, the government of Venezuela, the Guaido administration is backed by the United States government. Then these guys go down there and they try to do whatever and get caught. So now is when all the cleanup is going to happen. So going back to the theories on why it happened, that document was released by Washington Post, but there's still theories that they started talking about negotiating the deal, and the Guaido administration said, no, we don't want to do that. But because, and I'm sorry I don't have the figure, apparently there's an actual bounty on these people's heads. Like, I don't know who's, I'll find it another time. So that they may have went on their own anyways and decided to just go try to get these dudes without Guaido's blessing. And then obviously the other one is that our government sent them there covertly. I'm very interested to see how this turns out. I think, again, at the end of the day, that it was called Operation Gideon. This operation was a mess. It shouldn't have been in existence in the first place. Where there shouldn't be a place you should not be allowed to go do this. If our government has a problem with another country, then diplomatically they need to solve that problem. Obviously, military force is a thing to be exerted when necessary, but that's not the answer that I would like. That's always the absolute last resort. So you solve a problem diplomatically first. You don't send in your hired dogs. You don't allow people with private companies to send in their hired dogs under the guise of like independent business transactions. And we should not be allowing United States-based businesses to engage in this type of warfare, because this is a warfare. It has nothing to do with us, and this shit causes more problems for us here. We're having a hard enough time getting unemployment benefits to people who need it, and SBA loans to people who need it, and quality education to our children now who are at home learning through cameras. Like, all this shit is going on. The last thing we need is for these assholes to go meddle in Venezuela and start some bullshit war. All right. So, I pulled this up and I don't have my clip ready. Doesn't matter. Oh, wait, I know. Here, let me find it. I'll find it right here. 1 second. So, here it is. Perfect. All right. So, this next story is actually really important because it talks about our elections, right? And I think they actually pretty much just go over it in there, so I won't do too much. Cuomo canceled the New York primary for the New York primary election. He initially canceled it, and again, I want everybody to remember, Joe Biden is not the nominee, right? There has been no convention. There has been no actual delegate allocation that has been finalized. All right, so he's the presumptive nominee. So A, everyone stop acting like we have no other choices. And B, this story is actually really important for that reason. So go ahead and play that.
We've been keeping our eye on here. So some of you all may have followed this. After Bernie Sanders suspended his campaign, there was an effort in the state of New York to remove him and also Andrew Yang and other candidates from the ballot. Now, why does this matter? For a couple of reasons. By the way, very strongly suspected that Andrew Cuomo is behind this move and part of his longstanding war against progressives. So a couple of reasons this matters. Number one, Bernie, even though he's suspended, still wanted people to go out and vote for him so that he could accumulate delegates, so that progressives could have a voice at the DNC, just like they did last time around, which ended up being important in terms of getting rid of super delegates and things like that. Okay, so that's number one. Number two is you have some other races down ballot where the suspicion is very strong that if you don't have Bernie at the top of the ticket driving people out, other progressives who are running in primaries down ballot would be negatively affected because turnout would be down. There's a lot of confusion about, okay, people were confused about whether these primaries were even still going on. Of course they were, but the thought was that this would depress turnout. Okay, so that was the state of affairs. Bernie Sanders and others had been removed from the ballot. So Andrew Yang actually sued, and we just found out won. So a federal judge on Tuesday ordered election officials in New York State to hold that Democratic primary election in June and reinstate all qualifying candidates on the ballot. A challenge is still possible here, but for the moment, it looks like Andrew Yang, who his legal team apparently is coordinating also with the legal team of the Sanders campaign, has won and being able to get Bernie Sanders' name and others back on the ballot.
Yeah, so that's really important. And here's the reason why. Delegates allocated to you at the convention means you have weight. You have political weight to help shape and form the party platform moving forward in the general election. And I'm telling you, man, like, if Democrats, if you don't want to lose this election, you really need to figure out a way to get progressives to buy into your bullshit. And it's not by telling us things that we don't want to hear, okay? Such as Joe Biden saying that he would veto a Medicare for all bill, like, as president. Like, it's funny because so many of you loved your employer, the insurance that your employer gave you, yet now how many of you don't have jobs? Where's your insurance now? Where's your employer-backed insurance now? And look, I'm not trying to be an asshole and fucking stick it to you, but sometimes rubbing shit in people's faces is the only way you get them to smell what's going on. This is what we were trying to tell you. This is why insurance can't be tied to employment. It just, things like this happen. And it throws everyone for a loop. So, another reason why this is so important, again, shaping the party platform moving forward. The Democratic Party has already shifted based in large part by what the Sanders campaign started in 2016 and continued in 2020. So obviously we want to have the power to do so moving forward as well. But this is the really important thing that I really want you to listen to, okay? Andrew Cuomo decided to cancel an election, okay? Think about what that means. He made the decision to cancel an election. If I can do it, I'm sorry. If you can do it, then I can do it too. And let me show you what that means. So for a very long time, I've been listening to Bill Maher. Can you put me on browser, please? For a long time, I've been listening to Bill Maher say the same thing. And he asked every Democrat and every Democrat pundit and anyone affiliated with the blue team that comes on his show. For the past couple years, he's been asking this question. This is one of his quotes. He said, "Trump is going to go when he wants to go, and that includes losing the 2020 election." He's been asking every single person, we can go back out. He's been asking every single person, what are you going to do if he doesn't leave? And not one person has given him a really good answer. Not one. I've watched probably at least 20 plus of them. They all default to the same thing that I hope is true. It's that we have a series of checks and balances in our government that just has always afforded us a peaceful transition of power. You know, everyone just follows the rules. So riddle me this. If Andrew Cuomo can cancel the New York primary because of coronavirus and public safety, what is to prevent Donald Trump from canceling the general election because of coronavirus and public safety? Then what? Then what, Democrats? Y'all don't have any guns, so you can't fight back. I don't want a civil war anyways, I'm just saying. I'm just saying it's time to start getting your head out of your ass and really paying attention to what's going on in our government and really actually coming up with a platform that people want to be a part of. I have faith that the people in the military and the people on the police force are good people. And from my short time in the military on a military police force, I know that to be true. Like literally the best fucking people I've ever met in my life. And we're all crazy as fuck in different ways. Nobody's perfect, but these people were awesome. The reality is that a lot of those people are Trump supporters. And that's not wrong. You are free to support who you would like. But all I'm saying is that facing that decision in the future, or facing that situation in the future, I mean, it's a touchy subject. What are we going to do? What do we do? Do we trust? We hope that everyone who supports a guy who decides to cancel the election and has all the guns, just, you know, what do we do? So I'd love to hear some of you guys give me a really good answer for that, because y'all really love to tell me that I have to stop telling people to challenge Joe Biden. Y'all really love to tell me that I have to vote blue no matter who. I want you to tell me what you're going to do if Donald Trump cancels a general election and doesn't leave. Or even if it's not canceled and he loses and then he cries fake news, election rigging, all that shit. What are you going to do? I hope it does not come to that. All right, moving on to another topic that I know everyone is probably going to be really excited about, free money. But again, no free lunch. In economics, there is no free lunch. This money is coming from somewhere. Whether it's printed digitally or not, this money is coming from somewhere, okay? So, Tim Ryan and Ro Khanna. Tim Ryan's from Ohio, Ro Khanna is from California, if I'm not mistaken. Yes. Both Dems, doesn't matter. What they want to do is give people $2,000 a month, tax-free, to boost the economy. So if you're not aware, we have a consumption economy, right? Americans, we're consumers. We're not producers like we used to be. China is a production economy. They make everything, right? We buy everything, right? So we're not making anything now, and we're also not buying anything now, which is why everything's turning to shit. So obviously, I mean, and this is something I swear I could have a conversation with an 8-year-old and they would be like, yeah, that makes total sense. Just give people money so they can buy shit. Now, don't get me wrong. I think consumerism is a whole nother conversation. It's a whole nother beast that I'd like to tackle. But in this instance, in this very moment, to save our livelihood and our economy and somewhat the future of our children, y'all's children and grandchildren and all that good stuff, People need money, man. You got to give them the money. So we already saw that the first bailout package heavily subsidized the operations of big corporations. We're still mad about that. But now we're really trying to move forward and figure out what is the best things that we can do to make this shit happen, right? So what they're proposing is everyone that's 16 and older who earns less than $130,000 per year will receive a tax-free check for $2,000 a month until employment levels reach pre-coronavirus levels. They mentioned in here, they were mentioning different types of people that were falling through the cracks of the first $1,200 stimulus bill. I won't go into all of those. I'm sure you know of someone who still hasn't got a stimulus check, and for whatever reason, they were not qualified to get a stimulus check. But to highlight what that would look like, it's up to $5,500 a month for families. It's a family of a married couple with 3 children would receive $5,500 per month. So for every American age 16 and older who makes less than $130,000, you'd get $2,000. Married couples, you can earn up to $260,000 and you'd receive $4,000 a month. And then you receive $500 per child, capped at 3. So that's how that pans out. So if you're someone who thinks that that's the right answer and that something like that should be done for our country, then start telling people about this bill. Sorry, let me give you the name of it. It is called Emergency Money for the People Act. Emergency Money for the People Act. So tweet it out, share it with your friends, start getting people to be all real buzzed about it, because every time we get together and we all start fighting for the same shit, something positive happens. Video came out of that young man being gunned down, unfortunately, and it took uprising of people demanding justice for the the Georgia Bureau of Investigations, to come in and arrest him within a few hours. We can do the same thing for this money. Right now, all of you people are at home, hopefully watching me for at least the next 20 minutes. And then you're going to do something else, right? But I know your options are limited. There's no movie theaters to go to. There's no bars. You can't go to the beach. Clubs are closed. Go-kart track. Everything's shut down. So how about we take to the streets and start demanding the shit that we need to stay emotionally solvent and physically solvent and economically solvent? How about we start doing that? And it's getting a little warmer outside. Nice time for some peaceful revolution, huh? I think so. All right, so this next story is out of Michigan, Lansing, Michigan. This happened on Wednesday, May 7th, I believe. Damn, did I say today was the 8th? Oh, earlier? I think I did. 7th was got arrested. Oh, but I thought I'm so confused. Doesn't matter. All right, so we all remember in Michigan the armed protesters who stormed the Capitol building lawfully, mind you. And I get it. Yo, just as something is legal doesn't mean you should do it. There's so many stupid laws in America. For instance, if I'm not mistaken, the Uniform Code of Military Justice still outlaws sodomy. How many of you guys like anal sex? Against the law. Unless they took it out. Correct me if I'm wrong, but it was, still in there. Yeah, so there's a whole host of crazy laws that have been here for far too long, okay? To include probably this one. Being able to walk into the damn Capitol building or whatever government building just strapped to the teeth with all your fucking homies. That's intimidation, all right? We know why you're doing it. You know why you're doing it. Don't be coy. So let's go ahead and watch this clip here of these people. Oh, hold on. Let me turn that volume up for you.
Guns from entering the building. Pressure is mounting at the Capitol as another lawmaker calls on her colleagues to prevent guns from entering the building. The legislator says last week's protest left her in fear. News 8's Donovan Long has this story today.
These images show a group of armed men and women escorting Representative Sarah Anthony to the Capitol Wednesday.
It did bring some comfort, just to know that folks out there have my back.
Representative Anthony welcomes their presence. She says she grew fearful after protesters legally brought guns inside the Capitol last week.
There was something that triggered, extreme fear in myself as a woman, as an African-American woman, just as a legislator.
These gun-wielding community activists say they're here to ease that fear.
We came together and decided we needed to do something about that.
They're calling on lawmakers to stop people from carrying weapons inside the Capitol.
It can only be used for one thing, intimidation. What else are you carrying a gun in there for?
We reached out to Republican Senate Majority Leader Mike Shirkey. A spokesperson for his office tells us, quote, the House and Senate have their own police force in the form of the sergeants and Michigan State Police are stationed in the building. The majority leader feels these men and women do an excellent job of ensuring safety of legislators and staff.
So, let me guess. Oh my God, no, that wasn't the right answer. You shouldn't do what they're doing. We're better than that. All this shit. You know what? Keep being better than everyone. You've been better than everyone for 34 years of my life, and you haven't gotten shit done. Okay? Listen. Like, if you're tired of the bullshit, do something about it. Look, I don't want bloodshed. I don't want anyone to get hurt, okay? I'm not saying to escalate this situation to like the nth degree to where we're actually hurting each other. That's not what I want, right? But it's like, how many times do we have to see like one group of people that just get to do whatever the fuck they want because they come from a place of privilege, right? In any fashion. I'm not just talking about skin color, but I'm also talking about skin color. And I hate talking about skin color because I want to change the way that we talk about each other. And it's not because I'm colorblind. But I personally feel that I would now like to see, I've always actually wanted to see this. Gun laws in this country will change as more black and brown people exert their rights as gun owners. It's that simple. As soon as you see a bunch of black and brown people walking around armed to the teeth, that's when I'm pretty sure there's going to be a select group of other people in this country who are going to be like, oh my God, we can't be having people walk around with fucking guns. Oh my God, we can't be selling automatic rifles, weapons of war to people. Duh. You guys remember what happened when the Black Panthers used to be armed to the teeth, right? You remember how our country handled that? If you don't, I would suggest that you go check that out. So some people are upset that she did that. Some people are like, oh, politics, all this bullshit. Whatever, man. At least there's somebody who has fucking this to fucking just try to fight back as minimal as possible, to try to do something instead of fucking Twitter beefing with people. Fucking hiding behind cell phones and just being I get it. Not everyone's a fighter. You don't have to fight. But don't talk shit about people who are trying to change something for the better. And sometimes fighting fire with fire is really what you gotta do. Yeah, create a stink so everyone pays attention and then we can actually get some action done. Because if I'm not mistaken, they're definitely changing that law. So now nobody gets to bring guns into the Capitol. But do you think that they did that before? You think that they did that before those black and brown people walked in there with their guns? It's fucking bullshit. It's just fucking bullshit. Oh, fuck that up. That one. All right. So I know I come on here, I just yell all the time. That's probably why nobody wants to stay here. with me and watch. But so we're gonna do something fun. We're gonna end on a fun note. Everyone's favorite llama right now. If you haven't heard about this llama, you need to. So this llama's name is Winter. Can you give me on the Llama's name is Winter. And this precious soul may be the answer to all of our problems right now. So preliminary research suggests a tiny particle in this llama's blood can stop the coronavirus. You got that graphic? Nah, doesn't matter. It was a cheap win. So basically on here, let me see if I can find it, the verbiage for you. The shape of the coronavirus is what makes it really hard to. Here it is. Okay, so so what makes it special? The coronavirus gets its name for having a corona or crown shape. Not because it likes beer. And it's formed by protein spikes that let the virus break into healthy host cells. So preliminary research finds that the petite antibodies from Winter's blood, they can bind onto the coronavirus spikes and then block the virus from infecting cells. So just to clarify this was already put in use. It's between UT Austin and the National Institute of Health in Ghent University. Oh, sorry. UT Austin is the National Institutes of Health. Ghent University in Belgium. They've been researching this for about 4 years. They started with SARS, 2003 SARS and the 22 MERS virus. So that's why it just like kind of happened now, came out of nowhere. So all you conspiracy theorists, look at that guy. I think I don't know if it's a boy or a girl or a non-gendered llama. I don't know. I don't know. So I'm just going to chill with the llama real quick. We'll finish that out. Yeah, that's great. I like that. Okay. Yeah, so apparently the llama's in an undisclosed location. So yeah, there's that. So hopefully hopefully this comes out and we actually get this. Oh, I was going to say for the conspiracy theorists out there, what was that Plandemic? Okay, I watched it. I watched Plandemic. Is that yeah, I should just do this now. I watched Plandemic. Yeah, man, nah. Like no, like none of it. Like probably like maybe 5% of it is something that I just would even get further into a rabbit hole with. I think the production style was just way too dramatic, and usually when things are overly dramatically produced, it takes away from its factual credibility, and because then you wouldn't have to produce it in that way. You wouldn't have to convince me that it's this thing if it was just you were just telling me the facts. It'd be like, oh my god. So, but I do understand like the draw to all of that. And to be honest, look, I didn't independently research the whole thing. I'm pretty sure that there's parts of it that are shreds of truth. But I think overall it's just, I don't know if it's the right look. So, but we'll see. I could be wrong. I'd love to, I'll probably bring, I have a few people in mind that I may ask to, bring on, and we'll have that discussion in real time so everyone can kind of join in on the debate. But yeah, that's it from there. So yeah, I don't have anything else for today. We're still putting some stuff together as far as production is concerned. So we'll bring the guests back in a few, maybe next week, maybe the week after next. We're changing up some equipment in the back. Everything's getting real tightened up. So I want to thank all of the people that are instrumental for keeping the country running right now. And if you haven't thanked your local garbage person, you really should, because that's a really big deal. So thank you to everyone out there who's doing their best to keep all this going. Thank you to everyone who's allowing me to just spew all this bullshit and you haven't deleted me from your life yet. I hope you know that I'm coming from a place of like genuine caring and concern for every human, and that I'm just trying to figure out a way to have conversations and share information so that we can all make educated decisions about how we want our future to progress. So with that, I may not always be right, but at least I started the conversation. Shout out to Winter for being just goddamn beautiful. Yeah, that's all I got for today. So peace out. Thanks for Hector for running the board. if you've been hearing all the music that's on our rotation, that's all Purple Tokyo shit. So purple like the color, Tokyo like the city. SoundCloud. But oh damn, did I just do it? Check out my SoundCloud. It's Spotify, Apple Music, all that shit. Yeah, so check out Purple Tokyo. More to come soon in the next few days. So thanks everyone. Have a good one.